I'm pleased we're doing a character discretion one beforehand because I think that will help out a lot.
Yeah, I listened to the one from that thing you linked, and it sounds like good for setup.
We're live, by the way.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Uh, right. I suppose I should introduce things. Um, this is Fellowship, a RP where hi, an RP where basically you play as a team of characters trying to be an overlord. So it kind of is a bit different from your average D&D session where one person plays as the GM and everybody else plays as a group of characters. And in that, it makes the GM into the bad guy, which is what everyone's secret wish is, really. Everybody knows the GM's the bad guy in the end.
The ultimate real villain.
The real villain. The real villain was pushing you along all the time. So basically what tonight is going to be is we have Jay, Locus, and Ennis, and we're going to make some characters. We're going to make some characters. So,
Sorry to interrupt.
has everyone done their homework?
I have.
No. I'm sorry, teacher. The dog ate my homework.
What's up, Jay?
Not to interrupt, you have on the announcement, you have an exclamation mark at the end of the link, which takes it to nowhere.
Oh, good! Oh, good! So...
Just let you know.
Oh, good. Oh, good. That, yeah.
That is the one domain we didn't grab ahead of time.
I swear my exclamation points are going to be the end of me. It's the only way that people know I'm American. So yes, tonight we're gonna set up some characters. Eventually we're gonna have sort of a splash screen, I think, and we're working out how we're going to maybe set up Roll20 to follow along with the characters and the scenes and things along those lines. But this part is an interesting one. So I think Jay has got an idea for a character based off of the constructed, which each character has a playbook of its own that you fill out, which you select everything that is applicable to your character. It's a very simple tabletop game where basically dominated by rolls of 2d6 dice. I think I'm getting everything here from my understanding of it. This is my first time GMing or overlording, as it were. No, it's not my first time overlording, but it's certainly my first time GMing. So bear with us. It's a little rough and ready, but I think I think we'll do okay in the end. We'll see. I'm sure people will tell me if I'm not. So Jay.
Yeah.
We might start with you if that's okay.
Sure.
Since
I'm just getting a shareable link for everyone to have the playbooks.
Ah, fantastic.
There we go. Sorry, I should have done that earlier, but I'm kind of running at the end there. Those are all fillable playbooks, so you can just kind of click stuff instead of, having to fiddle with things.
Yeah, and I was just using Notepad++.
You can do that too. I love Notepad++, but these are actual where you can click stuff and save it and do whatever you want with it.
That's a lot better. I've printed mine out, but that's because
You're old school.
I'm old.
Well, I'm old school, not old. Not that much older than any of us.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that's fine. Don't worry.
So you want me to start talking about my character concept?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I've chosen the Constructed. It's one of the expansion characters that's available for Fellowship. It's basically a robot. And you've got, the standard kind of things, but you can also kind of be built out of something beyond the typical. I'm just gonna
already.
yeah, I'm gonna bring up things like, for example, you can choose like Aether and Energy, which basically means you're sort of a not quite solid. You're kind of just composed of some kind of force. You've got Hardened Blood, where you're basically a genetic construct. Might and Magic, which is like a golem, stone and wood brought to life by runes. And then Steel and Wire is your very sort of prototypical robot. And they all have advantages and changes, but one of the big things about Constructed is instead of being a character kind of on their own, you are sort of permanently bound to at least one other person in the party. Where you have to follow their orders. And if you go against that, you are rolling in what's called Despair, which, for those familiar with Call of Cthulhu, it's like having a penalty die. In this case, you would roll 3d6 and you'd take the worst 2. But when you follow their orders, you're filled with hope, which is like having a bonus die in Call of Cthulhu, in which you roll 3d6 and take the best 2. There are various ways to adjust how your constructed character can respond to things. Like there is a custom move where you really don't necessarily care if you follow orders or not. I'm not going that route. Do you want me to work through actual character creation, or you just want me to explain constructed?
Well, it's I think yeah, a little bit, because I think it might help. Locus and Ennis, do you have more of an idea of sort of what playbook you guys are going to be going for?
Yeah, I think so. Anyways.
Yeah, I was going through the playbooks, and I think I found one that really appeals to me.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Jay, if you fill it out as a character sheet now, and then that will help the rest of us, I think, sort of fill in the blanks with ours as well.
Well then, follow along for Mr. Frog's Wild Ride. So, first I'm just going to describe the look of the character, and some of these that I fill in are going to make a lot of sense. I chose basically a not necessarily entirely technologically based. He's most certainly built out of steel and wire, which we'll just click right now. But what he is he's very elegantly built, very thin legs with sort of these magnetic repulsive joints, and he almost looks very, very high tech, but at the same time there's gears and brass fittings, and the kind of craftsmanship associated is exceedingly high for that kind of a robot, right? He has 2 sets of arms, so 4 arms altogether, but only one set of them has hands. The other set are entirely, from the elbow forward, blades. Just single elegant blades, and he doesn't have a single shoulder joint. There's just sort of this magnetic hub where the 2 arms just kind of rotate around and flex on. They don't connect directly, but they are sort of held in suspension at that point. Body is covered in sort of this, almost looks like a polymer or like a strange resin-based material that forms sort of an elegant casing around the body. And for the most part, looks very elegant, very skinny. He's quite tall, probably about 6'8", 7 feet tall, but like just the width of the leg, for example, is probably no more than 2.5 inches at most, and it's made out of tubing and connected setups and all those sort of things. Almost has a sense of grace about it as a robot. The name I chose, and this is open to whoever wants to actually give him a actual nickname or easier to remember name, but officially he is a Gamma Protection Unit, which Gamma Model Protection Unit, and his serial number is G297A3 because he's a third revision, actually the last of his kind. We're just gonna put the name up there.
I am writing this down as well.
It's alright, I'll send you a finished one. I have one saved elsewhere, but I'm filling this out for
Thanks,
the thing.
Jim.
So for the general thing, I've described look. We have a name. The form is definitely humanoid, but a good thing to think about would be almost K2SO, but maybe steampunkish, and forearms, if that gives any kind of body definition that would help anybody.
Single person constructing him as opposed to
right.
a chain.
G297A3 was designed very specifically for combat. Though he does have hands, that was one of the improvements on the A3 versus the A2 versions, which allows him to do, more finer motor skills, open doors instead of just busting through them. Useful things to have in a relative humanoid shape. But unfortunately, his agenda was pretty much to destroy anything that gets in his way. Processor is intelligent enough to comprehend most human actions, but not sophisticated enough to answer questions such as, what is my purpose? And certainly not to appreciate nature or the beauty of the world. He has 2 eyes, one in the front of his head and one in the back. And they're obviously mechanical.
Oh my god, I love this.
Stats. So, all the playbooks generally have you have a fixed stat, effectively. In my case, my courage is +2. So I just go ahead and do that. That's question answered for you right there. As my character is a combat character, he's going to be taking +2 blood as well. Which is basically, blood is when you're trying to overcome or basically defeat an enemy in a combat sense. Courage is where you're trying to keep someone busy or generally are using your structure, your ability to take damage or endure when dealing with, keep them busy, those kind of things. His grace is +1. His sense is 0, because he only has 2 eyes. They have a very limited field of view, despite the fact that he can see forward and behind, but it doesn't provide really any peripheral vision. They're effectively cameras facing forward and back. And sense have all similar issues. Now, one of the advantages of the constructed is that even when a part is not attached to me, it continues to work. So there is the possibility that G297A3 could rip off one of his eyes and stick it to a wall, and it would still continue to work, but it would require something with the repair tag, which we'll get to a little later, to actually reattach it. And wisdom is -1 because he is not built to think for himself. So whether it's a good idea or not, he follows orders. So that's the first page done. There we go. So now I'm going to go over the core kind of things to explain this character, and I'm doing this for as much for the audience as for you all, but the core are basically, these are fixed moves. These are things that are part of you, and how your character is going to actually go through the world. So the first one, did I skip one? I think I skipped one. There we go. No, okay. Sorry, PDFs XSplit are just little jinky. So
Okay.
built for this, you have one purpose in this world. You were built to stop the Overlord. In this case, that is an entirely true statement. G297A3 was built specifically to stop the Overlord, but not necessarily this Overlord. But we'll get to that later. You must follow your orders, and you must go on this journey. It is what you were made to do. In this case, G297A3 is going to basically be found by someone, and that's where that bond is going to be formed. And they're effectively going to follow that person to the ends of the earth, including against this Overlord. I don't have a society. I'm completely artificial. I don't get to talk to other artificial intelligences. Is just me. We're not networked. In this case, though, I do command lore about my creators and their secrets and their science. In this case, and I'll get to reason why here a little later, G297A3 has an operator's manual, which I feel can be very useful when we encounter similar technological things in the world. But is unable to share more specific details for two reasons that we'll get to later. But basically, what the built for this means is, and although their characters are very similar, I kind of control the technology around what made me, but I don't necessarily control the entire lore for my creators because I didn't exist then.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what built for this. By your command, you were created to serve, and serve you shall. You have 3 locked bonds as you begin the game, with your first one filled in with the name of another member of your fellowship. This is the last thing I have to do because I need to know who you all are first.
Yeah, would you guys like to set up a scenario where we actually find Gigi?
It'd be interesting.
Pretty much the best way you'd find it is you would find the factory that was making him, and he would be assembled as it tried to come back to life, and he would be assembled as well as the machine can after X amount of time.
I really kind of like that idea that you
Yeah.
guys, that maybe he'll be stumbled into as opposed to just starting out with him.
Well, like a baby bird, it would bond to the first person that...
I think that could be very interesting considering you guys. So just so long as I don't find him first.
The locked bonds are, like it or not, I must follow Blank's orders, or I willingly follow Blank's orders, or I have grown emotionally attached to Blank's orders. Now, I'm going to intentionally not use that last one yet, because G297A3 is not really an emotional thing. It has a damaged processor. And again, I'll get to that later, but I want to work through some other things first. So basically, when someone in my locked bonds gives me an order, I'm filled with hope if I follow it, and despair if I ignore it or go against it. So effectively, he's a very powerful tool, but I have to follow orders. Either way, though, it only lasts until the next move, so it's not forever. I could decide not to follow an order, and I would obviously take a penalty for that specific move, but the next move, I would be free of that. When I forge a bond, I write its name into an unwritten locked bond. Once it's written, it's permanent, and I basically can't remove it unless there's another move that tells me to. If the Overlord uses a move that erases your bonds, they can still erase your locked bonds, and locked bonds count towards your maximum of 3 bonds with a single person. And here's really maybe the worst potential thing. I can't eat food, and I don't get healed. I have fuel, and I have to use fuel. And I can be repaired, but I have to be repaired. So if you have an ability that heals, it does not affect me in any way, shape, or form, because I'm not made of flesh. So basically, when I fill my belly, I have to use one of my things of fuel, and I need to find more fuel. Because, and I'm I'm probably taking a little of your thunder away, Nick, but when you do fill your belly, what that does is you eat food and you repair one of your damage stats, effectively. Because you don't really have health in the same way in the system. Your stats are damaged.
See, I suppose if something does happen to G2 and one of the others doesn't have, you're not beholden to have like stats that would actually repair what is obviously a specialist robot. But it might mean that you have to find somebody who can repair him, which would probably deter you from. There might be a choice involved. It's like, do we go and do we risk it exposing him to more damage, or do we find somebody now? But perhaps let's something pass. I suppose it depends on the amount of damage that he goes through.
Well, that would be considered recovery, I believe. During recovery, I regain all my fuel and heal, just like any other character would. Because it's part of my core gear, and actual gear, basically refreshes every time we do recovery. But when you do recovery, the Overlord basically gets additional moves, so it's a calculated risk, or as Locust likes to say, risk reward.
You are not wrong, my friend.
Okay. For constructed custom, I get to choose 2. Do you want me to walk through these individually, or just talk about the 2 that I take?
I think it's better if you talk about the 2 that you've taken.
Okay. I'm gonna go straight to the bottom for the bottom 2 ones: Terminator and Walking Armory. And they're not as crazy as they seem. Terminator, basically, when I'm following a direct order, even on a damage stat, it doesn't give me despair. So even if as long as I'm following an order, I don't take despair if the stat is damaged. And this was a hard one between Rocket Punch and Walking Armory. By the way, Rocket Punch is your arms can be launched away from you, and they return to you by some means. Describe it. Once per scene, you can make a move against anyone nearby as if they were right next to you, which is really powerful when your arms are swords. But Walking Armory is really quite nice because you choose an additional main weapon, and you get an additional useful feature, which is really nice for robots. We don't have any advancement yet, and there's no shared customs, so for now, those really just don't have a point. Again, bonds, we're not there yet.
But we're gonna get there. We'll get there.
Constructed gear, I have a tank of fuel with 3 uses, plainly, and I am literally considered a weapon for the sake of armed or unarmed in-game. I physically count as a weapon. For my first main weapon, I'm going to choose a pair of wrist-mounted blades, which are melee and piercing. And for my second size, I'm choosing an oversized club, axe, or sword. Now these are both... mechanically, they count separately. For the sake of gameplay, it'll be how I use my blade arms, as it were.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So really, there's a weapon on each. Well, there's two blade arms, 2 regular arms, but even just my hands count as a weapon. So technically, he has 3 weapons. And now here's the thing where it gets kind of cool with that additional gear thing. I already get 2 of these, 2 useful features. They can be shared or taken by anyone else. And this is where this character gets kind of cool. You have many legs. You can walk or run along walls and ceilings. I'm just going to do that with specialized legs. And you can glide through the air and take no damage from falls, which, using my blade arms, guess what? I can auto-rotate.
Nice.
I attempted to take amphibious and can swim faster than you can run, but I thought against it, and I went with you have a giant drill capable of tunneling through earth and stone. No, those are just my fists.
So
Punch the rock out of the way.
Literally.
You almost made a frog bot.
Almost. I almost made a photograph. I did not make a photograph. Okay, but I was not sent alone. The person who is listed in my first locked bond is actually going to get something. They actually, first they get a repair kit specifically for me that has 2 uses as repair, and it's a slow repair, which I think means you need, not recovery, but you need some downtime. You can't do it in combat, I think is really what it means. But then they also get one other thing. I'm tempted to choose this myself because there's one option that's very specific, and it concerns me. But technically I get to choose it.
Should I be worried?
Okay, so there's another like you. It's a construct. They have 1 bond with it. Or a talisman of calling, which has 1 use. By the way, though that 1 use resets every time we go to recovery.
Right.
Right.
They may use it to teleport you to their side no matter where you are. And 3 is a self-destruct button. 1 use.
No, I'm worried.
Obviously.
I'm so worried.
When they press it, you and everyone next to you takes 3 damage. Which, by the way, since damage is done via stats, that's more than half of your stats in a single point. If pressing the button was their idea, erase their name from your locked bond. The button's 1 use can only be recovered by recovering. And this is where it talks about fuel and repair, where fuel is food, basically. But I can't share it with you. You all could not eat my fuel. It just wouldn't work out well. We may be able to narratively use it. I don't know. I don't know if that's an option in game, but I assume it is. Just like I'm assuming you could use food as an item narratively.
Just to specify a little bit, you can probably use the same fuel as and I'll go into the story a little bit after we do characters if we've got time. But the fuel is probably the same fuel as everyone else. So it specifically might be important for you to find a source of that kind of fuel, as opposed to it's not what should I say? It's not based off of fossil fuels. It's the stuff that comes down from meteorites.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Is that yeah that is that what you had in mind anyway?
It works. I mean, I just was wondering about using it, that's all. And repair, obviously, repair is healing. Just as any other healing works, but you use the repair tag. That's no difference. Something I skipped, and I feel I should go over it. I chose steel and wire. You're a very tough robot, built of metals and plastics and wires. You add an indestructible shell, which counts as armor, 1 use to your gear when you fill your belly. So basically, every time I use fuel, I recover that 1 armor, which basically stops one of my stats from being damaged.
Nice.
And when I fill my belly, when you're repaired, or when you roll a 12+, and I think that's on any roll, you restore 1 use to your indestructible shell. Can never have more than 1 use at a time, however. Okay, that's all the mechanical stuff. Ironic, because it's a constructed, but here's really the core concept. G297A3 has a damaged vocal processor. He can only say 4 words. I exist to serve.
Oh no,
Those
here
are the
we go.
only 4 words he can say. He can say any variation of just I exist, I exist to, and I exist to serve. Occasionally this broken processor does slur, and the word serve does occasionally become sever. It just happens.
Jesus Christ.
But otherwise, those are the only 4 words that the character is able to speak. He has a small leather pouch which attaches sort of at the hip, almost like you just expect like a holster to be. And inside there are 2 items. There's a small teacup and saucer that belong to his creator. And there is a general operations manual for gamma protection units.
Oh, it comes with a manual?
He comes with a manual. It comes with a manual. Doesn't have generals.
Aww.
They come with a manual. There you go.
Yeah, we'll stick with they
It
them
would,
for
they would definitely prefer they over it. Because they do have the comprehension, but other than that. And that's pretty much the character as it exists in my mind right now. There is more to it, but I'm not sure what I can share. I've told Nick a little bit about my plans on that, but we'll see. I don't have bonds.
I think for the moment that's perfect, because there'll be some things that sort of develop further, and I don't know if you want me to, because obviously for mine I have to go through what sort of connection I have with everyone, and how I've somehow damaged each and every single one of you so that you rather dislike me. So we might go a little bit into that, just for that purpose. But most of it, I think if we keep it as a surprise, it'll be lovely.
All right, it's someone else's turn now.
Right, Locus or Ennis?
I guess I could probably go out most
Yep.
of.
Yeah.
I kind of did it out like the hour before we started.
That's all right. I was asleep the hour before we started, so I can't judge.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the dwarf. I think.
Good choice.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm not even sure how to really start this.
That's all right. If we have a look at the actual sheet itself, so for dwarf, you've got I'm going to guess we're gonna work on a name.
Well, I have the first name. Well, I have the name picked out actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Using Vakar and Skyforger, which I picked from as the clan name, because it kind of sort of fits with the kind of backstory I gave him.
What was the first name?
Vakar.
Fakar.
Vakar.
Vakar, right? Va. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the look. I kind of thought with some, I suppose, kind of standard dwarf, but a little taller than normal, about 5 foot. Went with hard eyes, muscular, callous skin because he's above ground dwarf, but still does a lot of manual labor type stuff. Has shoulder length hair and a lumberjack beard. And wears soldier's armor.
Tartan soldier's armor.
The agenda I went with for him was Dwarven Craft, which might actually work well with Jay's character.
G297A3 appreciates it.
With GG.
Oh no, it's taken.
GG no re.
Sorry, Chet. It's just the G2 got me.
I like the GG. It's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You realize now he's gonna have to have a completely broken voice that just goes no re.
Yeah, exactly.
It's...
Anytime he runs into an error message, no re.
I should probably mention, I'm sorry to go over you, Brad. There is a like software voice, but it's like your computer like is saying booting up, error, those kind of things, but it can't communicate that way. It's just those are just service messages, effectively. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Makes sense. I went with Iron Blast as his kind of type of person, I guess, which again might wind up working well with GG. This is before I really thought about it either.
I think it'll be interesting if you find him, but if you don't, it's nice that it's still applicable to him. But it'd be interesting if he doesn't register you as his quote unquote mother. It might be interesting how he reacts to somebody else tinkering with him.
That's true, actually.
Oh, you're really fascinating. Punch.
Yeah.
Either way, it's going to be interesting, yeah.
I'm guessing for stats, if you don't mind helping a little bit, Jay.
Try.
But blood's like your hit points, isn't it?
No,
so-
blood is your overcome.
Is it? Oh, right.
It's
Okay.
it's your like raw combat, like, oh, I don't want to say like berserker stat, but kinda. It's your outputting damage, trying to hurt someone using the overcome move, effectively.
So I would guess if he was a soldier, or at least built up like a soldier, that would be sort of perhaps your highest. The only other one might be courage.
Yeah, the way I allocated the stats was blood and courage were the main ones. Because I skimmed through a bit of like the basic play stuff, which said that yeah, blood and courage are mainly combat usage.
You've got one more +2. You've actually got extra stats, which is the interesting thing about the dwarf, is you have one more stat than most other characters. And it presets your iron stat as +2. So which blood or courage is +2?
Oh yeah, blood is +2. Actually, before you do stats,
Okay.
One of the core abilities, People of Stone, says along with iron, you have an additional +1 to assign to other stats.
You do. It's already listed in the things.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh, that's the +2 to iron then.
No, it's got the +2. Then you normally, yeah, you usually have that, but you also have another +1. So you have +2,
Right.
+1, +1,
Right.
+0, -1.
+1, -0.
Oh yeah. Okay.
+0, -0 is 0.
0. It's par. It's 2d6.
Okay, then yeah, in that case, yeah, iron is +2, blood is +2, courage is +1, sense is +1, wisdom is 0, and grace is -1 because he's a dwarf.
Bless him. Why go around when you can go through?
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. So, as you were saying about People of Stone, you take the +1. When you finish them by outlasting them, outdrinking them, or by slugging it out blow by blow until one of you falls, roll a +iron. When you share this move with another, their iron stat is +1. Oh, so you can share it out.
You can give us iron.
Yeah.
Here, drink this. It'll put hair on your chest and
Yeah, basically.
everywhere else.
Robot just breaks out in hair.
Someone does not have an iron stat uses a move that rolls +iron. They roll at +0. Okay. and then clear the path. And unbreakable. Have you picked a couple of customs?
I did. I picked all that glitters, and let me see that.
Oh my god, let
That's a
me
good
see
one.
that. This is just going to be. This is
Yeah.
just going to go so wrong.
It's actually going to be pretty great.
Oh dear. I almost want Locust to find him. Just for the conflict? Okay, but that's because I'm Overlord and I want to see you guys fighting. And
Shocker.
then suffer. I'm guessing advancement we don't have to worry about yet. Any
Not yet.
shared customs?
I don't think so yet.
We're not a fellowship yet, so it's hard to share customs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So is the sharing customs just? I'm guessing.
It's advancement.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the part that's actually, because fellowship's unique in that you kind of the character builds the race around their character, so you basically get to say what dwarves are like, Ennis, as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as far as what the race is like and everything like that. So do you want to go a little bit into how dwarves are in this world? Oh, sugar. I should have explained what the world was like beforehand. I'm sorry, guys.
That may have to wait till we actually are in game.
Yeah, let me because at the end of this I'll explain what the world's like, and then we can go straight into the start of what everybody's races is like. Well, you've explained a little bit. You're a race of one anyway, Jay.
Yeah, that's easy for me.
It's easy for you. So depending on what Locust picks as well, how the race develops is completely up to the characters. So I'll explain a little bit of the world, and then again, if we've got time, we might go into a little bit into what the actual races are like. Bonds.
Yeah, no bonds yet.
No bonds yet. Let's introduce everybody, and then we'll sort out the bonds. I think for the RP that we sort of listened to get a sense of what this was like, everybody really sort of knew each other very well and had already explained sort of, this is my character and this is how my character relates to this character and everything. We're at the point before that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy enough to leave that. Have you picked some gear for yourself?
Yes, I did. Apart from the starting gear of hardtack and regular armor, I went with a big old battle axe as his weapon because he's a dwarf. And
The Finax one?
yeah. And the placeholder name I'm giving it is Hacker.
Okay. Oh my god. That's one way to get into a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way this world is set, I assume, because, well, you told us anyways that it's like dawn of industrial revolution type. I assume there's kind of basic musket-like firearms.
Yes. Yeah. There will be sort of development based off of. There'll be more as Jay's actual character is. They'd probably be more specialized, more sort of think Smith and Wesson when it first sort of became developed and was doing customized pieces for people and things along those lines.
So we're talking
Yeah.
like cap and ball kind of stuff, or
Well, there'll probably be tech from sort of there'll be stuff from prior to this sort of generation that's been developed that's a lot less sophisticated. But now we're sort of starting to get into the realms of, like, I wouldn't mind a little bit of customization and things along those
Gotcha.
lines, because everybody's experimenting, everybody's maybe there's just been a big sort of boom, as in somebody's found a big source of energy and it's just basically, kick-started a massive glut of people that can suddenly have the resources to develop really nice things that are more custom made, as opposed to it's not the resources aren't quite enough in order to chain things, but it is enough that people can really sort of be free to experiment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea I got. So I took the rifle as the gunpowder rifle thingy as
Dwarven made rifle, Jesus.
as that one, because he likes shooting things, I guess.
A dwarven sniper. Which just goes back to the hacker reference, which just, it's full circle. Oh my god.
I'm in.
I took craftsman's tools. Not sure what exactly I can do with those yet, but they seemed kind of the best option there for what I had idea of what he could do. And a
Oh my god, you can have a little team.
yeah. I'm kind of wondering how that companion thing works, actually.
It looks, I mean, I think it's just as straightforward as it. You've either got a drinking, but well, you've definitely got a drinking buddy, but I think it just depends on, like, I suppose if you pick somebody that's a berserker, you have to live with the fact that they might damage you in some way if they go hell for leather. But then if you've got a blacksmith, then if any of your accessories break or anything, or your gear breaks or anything, you suddenly have a blacksmith.
I don't want to interrupt, but there are actual information on the Dwarven defenders
sugar!
on the next page.
Yeah, never mind.
And they all
You
have
get what I just said?
one stat that you can damage in order to gain a bonus from them, effectively.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Jay. Sorry about that.
It also explains that the Guzzler is a prototype automobile.
Oh my god! You could have a motorcycle! No, you can't have a motorcycle. That's too advanced.
Yeah.
That's too far. You can have a Model. You can have a Model T.
I thought that, or yeah, I was kind of thinking that the power suit and the tunneler might have been a little advanced for this world.
This is Dolores. She only goes up to 30 miles an hour, but she's the fastest thing on 4 fucking wheels. Sometimes she needs a little love, so I give her a kick to the ass.
That's tempting. But
Is it that when I thought the Guzzler, I thought it was just a drinking buddy? Just
That would
somebody
be
that just drinks
hilarious.
a lot?
it runs on alcohol, so kind of is a drinking buddy. I think for now I will go with the blacksmith. that might be useful. And
Do you have a
Dwarven
name?
Stout. Varric. I'm going to be original and borrow from Dragon Age.
There you go.
Do it. The sexiest dwarf there is. How did Dragon Age make dwarves sexy? I just don't understand.
And now, what is the possession you hold most dear?
That one I was having a little issue with. I was debating between like some kind of doodad that was the first thing he ever crafted, or depending using the symbol of peace thing.
I would say that if you would like to leave that for now until you know sort of for sure, I don't mind if you want to just leave something, because I think that's probably pretty important and probably has a lot to do with sort of his background as well.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So if you wanted a little bit more time to think about that one, that's fine.
Yeah, sure. Haven't really thought of what the doodad might be anyways. I suppose it doesn't entirely matter since it mostly just boosts your hope.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, anything that sort of boosts your hope in this world is a good thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you have any background at the moment that you'd like to sort of share out, or?
Mostly just kind of like about his kind of what his clan does in general, I guess.
Sure.
Uh,
Shoot.
yeah, and mostly I kind of just based it around. Well, I kind of used it to fit into the Iron Blast thing because it gives explosives too. Um, so the way I have his uh, clan working is, uh, yeah, they have this kind of main settlements wherever, but they have hunters that kind of go out and hunt for the meteorites. Um, think kind of like the Arkfall hunters from Defiance. That's how I kind of got the idea. They go looking for the meteorites to get the resources and such from the metals and everything. And they'll either bring the resources back or sell them off and bring money back to the clan. And if they bring resources back, they create stuff out of it. That's kind of where I went with that.
That's a dangerous job.
Yeah.
All considering, but yeah, can be really really lucrative.
Yeah, that's why I related it to like the Arkfall hunters from Defiance, because that was dangerous.
Okay.
And I mean,
Well,
they both involve stuff falling from space.
yep, exactly. No, I like it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I've just read the chat.
Yeah.
So as long as you're all right to leave that there, then I think we've got a really good sense of your character, Ennis, and we can move on to Locus.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Hi, Locus.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
So the character I've actually chosen, the playbook, is the Remnant.
Oh, Chris.
I thought you might pick that one. When I was
Yeah.
looking through them, I was like, this one would suit Locus.
Yeah. to be fair, I've talked to a few people about this. I've always wanted to play a character who came back from the dead, but not because of some curse or because, although it will be a curse in this, or because of magic or because the land is rotten. They came back because they were angry, just really, really upset about something. And that force of will was enough to bring them back from the dead. That sense of, I'm not done with this world yet.
I'm gonna guess that it's might be my fault.
Oh yeah, it's your fault.
Maybe just a little bit. I knew it'd either be the remnant or it'd be the harbinger. 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 That's the one.
You got it.
Does your remnant have a name?
Not yet. I've been kind of thinking about that. I haven't gotten a name yet. I've been just kind of going through the stats and agenda and stuff. So no, I do not have a name yet.
No, that's fine. That's all right. Let's go through what you've got.
Well, the agenda is definitely an old grudge.
Sorry, I just saw Jay's placeholder name.
What was
Yes,
the
you're angry.
placeholder name?
Are you angry dead guy?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Are you an angry dead? You're definitely an angry dead man then.
I don't know. But no, definitely going with an old grudge. Like I said, this is a character of the sense of I'm gonna beat up my girlfriend.
But your girlfriend's so lovely.
I know, but I'm gonna beat her up anyways. Definitely. I'm since everything he knows is gone and probably very violently at that fact. Definitely gonna hold a grudge against the Overlord for wiping them out.
Well, that answers one of my relationship questions.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jay! Don't make him angry.
But actually, considering that we've got a giant robot and a battle axe wielding dwarf, I kind of was entertaining the idea of, what if it wasn't some great and noble warrior that died and came back? What if it was a dude, just a regular dude who was just had a bad day, a really bad day, where your entire, species, well, not species, but your entire race was wiped out by the bad guy. So I'm actually going to play Social Dead Dude.
Social characters OP.
Social Dead Dude. I went with the A Curse of Dust, and I put that +2 into Sense. My other +2 went into Wisdom, and the 0 in Courage and +1 in Grace. So it should be Blood -1, Courage 0, Grace +1, Sense +2, and Wisdom +2.
Oh, I'm so pleased that everybody has quite different statistics.
Yeah. And then moving on down. I haven't picked. I'm still wondering what to do with my second move under Remnant's Custom, because I definitely want lifelike if I'm going to be.
Are you a bit squishy? Are you like a zombie, or have you come back physically?
I have come back physically, but I was gonna say that if he took his shirt off, you'd see that his entire abdomen's missing. Like just
Rise from your grave.
Yeah, exactly. Why from the wave? I imagine if you looked close enough, you would probably think he's just a very sick man, very emaciated. But if you saw him without a shirt, you'd realize, oh hey, he's got no midsection. His just decayed, and there's the spine. I can literally see his spine.
We're gonna change Remnant's name to Revenant.
Yeah.
and you've just crossed the wilderness in order to find this bastard who did this to you.
Absolutely. I'm still thinking about the second move though, because a lot of these are. I mean,
I
there's
like re-
Boogeyman. Boogeyman's great because it's a
Ooh.
world of eternal darkness.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You can kill them. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So much for my fucking generals. They're just gonna rock up and it's gonna be like, oh, they're dead. Either Slender Robot Man's gonna get him or the fucking zombie. I was hoping you guys would make scary people.
I actually think I am gonna go with Boogeyman. So give me Lifelike and Boogeyman, which I can't mark on the sheet for some reason, and it looks like Jay has the same issue.
Right. That one's a bit broke.
PDFs, man.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open up a notepad and add those on it.
I've got it printed out as well, so I've marked X's in those boxes.
Thank you. God, I can just straight up kill people if I'm alone with them. That's hilarious.
Hi there.
Yeah. We don't have bonds yet because we're still doing character creation.
Yep, pretty much. I think I probably might do my bonds just for the sake of
Yeah, I think yours are the easiest to do.
mine are probably the at least give people a direction to go in.
Yeah.
Gear?
I would probably see if he's going to be a social character. None of that gear immediately jumps into me. Oh well, none of the weapon jumps out at me because it's all melee stuff. I would probably say an ancient weapon.
It'd be really scary and have a little puppet.
I'm not going to be the puppet master, and I'm not going to do dark shadowy magic clinging to my soul because that's what I do with Hunhow. I'm not repeating myself quite there. And also, he's lifelike, so Frightening Claws and Mighty Flangs, that's not really lifelike.
That's not gonna blend, is it?
No, it's really not, so I'm gonna go with an ancient weapon. I'll probably give him like a Scramus axe or something.
Yet another weapon that you make me look up.
It's a knife. Just like an old peasant's knife. Because this guy, like I said, he's not a noble warrior. He's a dude who had a bad day. I actually wanted to talk to you about the difficulties because I'm going to take the water difficulty. I think that's cool. I think that, you know, since he's decayed, that, you know, water would probably be bad for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one I wanted to talk to you about though was daytime, because if I took that, that's just cheating because there's no daytime.
Okay. The way that I would be
Sorry.
bright.
Welcome back.
Audio just
Oh,
killed me there. Sorry.
did we lose you?
Yeah, I mean, I
Sorry,
could hear you.
Jay.
I could hear you all, but for some reason I couldn't talk, so I had to see if I could force it to
Oh.
work again.
Sorry, Jay.
It's okay.
Daytime. The way that I would interpret that is bright light.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say, because I want it to be an actual debility to the character. I don't want to completely min-max the shit out of this.
Well, but min-maxing is how it all works. One thing I would say is that a lot of you have electrical light, which is expensive, and you have sort of phosphorus light, which is cheap. And I would say that really strong electrics, so floodlights, things along those sort of lines, would be a detriment to you. Not to give myself a bonus, and we'll go into that, the reason why that would be. But that would be how I would interpret that.
Yeah, I imagine the workshop
Yeah.
that G297A3 would be have a lot of lights in it.
Yeah.
Not all of them working, but
Well, if it's broken, you just have to be careful of it. You have to decide whether or not it's worth turning the lights on.
Yep. So, but those are what I was gonna do for my curse was running water hurts me, and direct sunlight, or in this case, powerful electric light, would weaken me.
Yeah.
And then since I chose 2 difficulties, I get 2 of these. The first is definitely going to be conversation. Your voice is strangely hypnotic, and people are always willing to listen to you when you talk sense. If I'm going to be a social zombie, I'm going to be a hypnotic social zombie.
I don't remember that guy, but damn, his
Yeah.
voice was cute.
Yep.
He's sexy zombie.
And now I'm just kind of I'm kind of waffling between nighttime, because being able to see perfectly in the dark would be really useful when bright light hurts me.
It would, yeah.
Alternatively, mundane swords and arrows cannot harm you. At best, they only slow you down. Weapons made of supernatural materials such as silver, gold, steel, or blessed wood would work normally on you. That'd be nice, because I'm not going to be fighting much, and I'm not going to be fighting well, but it's obviously it's a tabletop game. There's going to be fights that I'm involved in. It'd be nice if we didn't have to worry about me getting my ass kicked because I'm a crappy fighter.
you also
Well-
don't want nighttime. I can tell you that, because it says, and anyone who meets you at night will fear you and avoid you
Yeah.
if they see you, which goes against a social character.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition, I think the people, and especially if everybody's a native, but everybody will have a certain level of being able to see, because that is their world,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I know I said sort of in the chat and stuff that I'm not going to go into like how people have developed over the generations and generation. We're going to say magic. And we're going to say they can fucking see to a certain extent within the darkness. Just for my sanity's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like, however it works, evolution. Evolving
Exactly.
in a world full of nighttime, there's going to be at least, I was thinking there would be at least some level of night vision.
Yeah.
My eyes are mechanical, they already see.
Yep.
We've taken that into consideration.
I'm assuming that G297A3 is just infrared, so anywhere that there's a small amount of light he would see normally, but he wouldn't be able to see in complete darkness.
Do you know, it's probably just cutting edge infrared as well. So his eyes might be a bit thick as far as I might be getting that wrong.
Are
I'm
you
just
thinking
thinking
thermal or infrared?
I might be thinking thermal.
Yeah, thermal
As
is body
opposed to-
heat.
what came-
Infrared is
What came first?
Infrared.
Thermal or infrared? Then
yeah.
we'll stick with infrared. But I think the technology probably might be that might be the limit, as far as that he might have been quite, not to make a joke of his hands, but cutting edge.
Mm.
Well, I mean, we're already talking basically about cameras, so...
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they don't have to be purely technological.
It'd be
But he has to
interesting if
see.
they worked like old. It'd be interesting if they worked like old cameras, where he has to stare at something for a very long time
Can't see vision.
before the image appears. Has to replace his eyes every once in a while because of shadow burn.
Mm-hmm.
Just there's like this giant flash, and he can see everyone, and it fights them as long as they don't move too far away from where they went, because he just has this like silver nitrate film over his eyes.
Good lord.
Little window wiper that just wipes the old ones away and new ones come on, sprays etchant.
I love it. Companions! Remnant.
Oh, I get companions?
You get buddies.
Holy shit.
They hate you, but you get them.
Huh. I missed that part.
You get a vampire. You get to pick up Alucard in his leather pants.
Oh god.
Dangerously sexy.
It's literally dangerously sexy. That's hilarious.
They sparkle.
God.
Oh my god, they're gonna have their own internal light source. Do it.
Specters are too spooky. Just bones.
Spoopy.
It's good that someone gave them weapons training, though.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I want to go with the Specters, because that'd be really good for spying on people.
Yes. Yeah, you're not wrong. You don't have to come up with names for them.
Good, because I
Immediate.
can't put a name in for some reason.
Yeah, me either. So do I just
Adobe
get
wet
two?
the bed again.
Oh.
So I just get two Spectre companions? That's hilarious.
Yeah. They can't kill anybody, but
That's
They're
fine.
not
I'm the social
exactly-
character.
they're not exactly the nicest of things. You can get two Spectre cats. They're just cats.
Can I get Spectre ferrets?
Yes.
Alright, I've got
Absolutely.
two
I will
Spectre
allow-
ferrets.
I will allow it.
I get double Spectre ferrets. This is gonna be great. Actually, no, they need to be able to communicate to me what they see. So no, they need to be people Spectres.
You can't read
Aw.
Weasel War Dance?
I cannot communicate with
Oh.
Weasel War Dance.
Aww.
I would love to have little weasel Spectres, but the problem is if I'm going to be using them as like my
Oh,
eyes and
see,
ears, they need to be able to.
Poltergeist powers would be able to pick things up, which might be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just imagining poltergeists as just ghost ferrets.
It would make sense for them just knocking shit over in the middle of an abandoned house.
Dragging stuff underneath chairs.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't where you left it when you went out of the house. It's because there was a poltergeist ferret in your bed.
You hear scratching at
it's
your
up
door,
to-
it's just them trying to get in.
Yup.
It's entirely up to you, Locus. If you need communication, though, if you're thinking of using them in a different way, then that's fine.
Yeah, again, since I'm kind of gonna be the social character, which I'm happy to do, dead man social character sounds really fun. I feel like this Spectres would be useful, like if we need to steal a key to get into the something or another, or if we think they're plotting against us, send a Spectre out to listen in on their conversation. I think that would be really useful.
I think you missed
It
the other
does.
two characters. We need a key. Okay? We have a guy that can tunnel through rock with his hands, and then a guy
Okay.
with a giant axe.
Not everything needs to be so forward. Sometimes we can. Oh God,
Welcome to
Now-
my role.
I know. Christ. We don't have to kick in every door, guys. We could be subtle about it for once. I have a feeling
Locus.
I'm gonna be saying that a lot as this character.
I can already tell you
Probably.
in the instruction manual, it's just going to be a line that says, "There will be nobody to notice if there is nobody left to notice."
Yeah.
Page 208.
Yeah.
And it's just a picture of a bunch of bodies underneath a vending machine.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, that's 3 characters.
Yep. That'll do me.
This is going to be
Excellent.
such a dysfunctional group. We have the murder boss, the dwarf with explosives and tunneling through rock, and the dead social character.
Yep.
The dead socialite. Oh, it's perfect. You guys are lovely. Right, okay. So, Overlord. My Overlord's name is Steel, Stille Mamo, which Mammoet.
Mhm.
It, um, oh, sugar. 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
And we don't get to see. Oh no, there's the Overlord. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the standard playbook as well.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Yes. So, look, I've written down. Um, he's very sort of an attractive character. For agenda, I'm gonna go with ultimate power, which is place wonderful things in jeopardy.
Hmm.
Sorry, I probably should explain a little bit about the Overlord. I'm the bad guy. I'll just say it in that wonderful way. I'm the bad guy. So basically, it's my job to move the story along, but move the story along in a way that's actually hampering the players. Not to the point of, I mean, one of the basic rules for Overlord is I will not win. That's spoilers. But then that's the way that the game progresses. Is that at some point the guys will get enough, as long as they don't kill each other again in Locus's case.
Yeah.
They will get to the point where there's going to be a face-off, and it's there isn't anything I can really do about that other than try and make things entertaining along the way. I'm gonna give him something to do. And certainly Steel sort of falls within that agenda. He is what you, whenever you see these titans of guys that have come out of the wilderness to basically say, I have all this fucking money, but I need more. And Steel is one of these sort of characters. He's charismatic. He's he's charming, but he's ruthless, and he wants more. That is his core agenda. He always wants more. Now, the world that we're playing in, so I'll finally get to this point, is a world that is eternally in night. It's nightfall. There is no sun. It's warmth. It still has flora and fauna. It still, for all intents and purposes, is a world, and a world with races and loads of culture and so on and so forth. So it's developed, but all the heat, all the resources come internally from the world's core, or there is a constant influx of meteorites. And the meteorites, whether or not they're the remains of an old sun that have just ended up in the planet's gravity, or just their own sort of thing, they fall to the planet below, and they're an incredible source of energy. But as of yet, no one has developed enough in order to either predict or harness. Well, they can harness the energy itself, but they can't predict when it will fall. So you have places that a lot of meteorites will all fall at once. You have places where they're basically starving out because the energy, there's just no person or people to actually help them get the resources that they need. And there's such a fight over these places that you automatically have losers here. You automatically have peoples that have been wiped out, much like locusts. You have people that go out and hunt it down, like Ennis's character, and you have technology that's been developed with the purpose of going out and finding this resource, or protecting the people that are going out and finding this resource. And basically Steele does everything that he possibly can in order to, everything in his life is geared towards helping him find bigger and bigger honeypots. And the biggest honeypot of all is the actual source, the actual meteor. It's asteroids when it's in space, isn't it? And it's meteorites when they fall to Earth.
Yes.
No, or is it asteroids when it goes past?
No, it's just asteroids in space.
Is it just asteroids in space?
It's just asteroids in space.
Excellent. Then that's the source. That's the source. I'm gonna look that up later just in case.
Asteroids in the wilderness.
Asteroids in the wilderness.
I think there's a cream for that.
Oh no, Dan's gonna serve me a... Right, okay. You stole that from me. So basically, yeah, that's his whole purpose. That is, he wants to get to the source. He doesn't care how. If people can pitch him an idea, he'll give grants. If a city wants to donate to his cause, he will promise them a portion. A lot of the money that he has already garnered, originally it came from being one of these finders that have gone out and actually gathered it, and the things that he probably did in order to do that is probably quite horrific. Finding doesn't necessarily mean when it hits the earth. Finding might mean destroying towns, destroying cities, and basically with the purpose of stealing the energy source. If he thinks that he can get it, then he will do. So that's basically his. That is his ultimate power. That is his agenda. So, saying that, I've picked as an army the organization. So you have an elite group whose membership mirrors that of the Fellowship but twisted. The organization does not form a proper army. Your forces are basically a large group of mini-bosses. They will compete with the Fellowship in a rivalry fashion, racing them to sources of power and trying to undermine their plans. So I get to make mini-bosses, which is going to be awesome.
Is there gonna be a guy who's just tragically alive to mirror the guy who's tragically dead?
Don't tempt me.
I was really surprised. I thought you were gonna say the Scourge, because the thing that came to mind when you were talking about money and power was like a corporate like CEO, and the corruption is money.
The temptation, to have something like the Scourge or even the Horde, and just develop it as a, but part of him is still this sort of president, what's his name? Teddy Roosevelt. He's still like a Teddy Roosevelt sort of character, where it's just like, well, I'm gonna go out and fucking get it if none of you can go and fucking get it.
Yeah.
So he's very confrontational. He's very while he's charismatic as well. He's not. I'm just trying to think. He's not like a beautiful sort of CEO of a company that's just willing to steeple his hands behind a large desk while every fucker else does the work. He's this big imposing sort of person that's like, I mean, if you can't have a name like Mammoth and just and just stay behind closed doors. I did plan on him being that way, but then I realized I was just making Joseph Brown, and Dan would come and kick my ass.
All right, so
that's me. I've got an elite team, a group, the anti-A team, as it were, who's gonna mess things up. Okay, Overlord's core.
no, I don't know if you need to share that necessarily.
I don't really need to know.
You might want to skip to gear though, maybe.
Yeah, I've done that.
Because I was looking at that, we don't need to know your only weakness or your generals, because I feel that's better told in store, in game.
It is entirely up to you guys, because I can tell you what it is. It's just your characters can't know what it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd rather not know, because even, I think we're all good role players here. We won't metagame it, but it's just better to not know and find out through storytelling.
Yeah, I'd rather it be delivered narratively.
Right.
It's
Okay.
more interesting that way.
Yeah, it's better we interpret it in game than we have it out of game and interpret it like ourselves, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I'll admit the thing that I've picked at the moment might not necessarily be the best choice. So that might change a little bit as well as we get into it.
Well, it gives you time to decide.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go through the bonds? Because I'm sure Locus's character fills out most.
Oh boy.
I've done all this to Locus.
Yeah, you did. You killed all my people.
Destroyed his hometown, have caused great harm to Locus's people, killed someone important to Locus, killed someone important to... Locus killed someone... Maybe? Maybe not. Let's see here. Blank's people serve me now.
If you know the details of my previous defeat, that would be something that'd fall in G2's realm, would it not?
I would thought it would be G2's people serve me now.
That's a good point as well.
Yeah.
Because, and spoiler here, G2 was created by the Overlord, the current Overlord, to fight
Yes, he was.
the last Overlord. G2 doesn't know this. G2 only knows that he is to defeat the Overlord. G2 doesn't know who his creator is. So we get to have a I am your father moment at some point in the future.
Has my Overlord done anything to harm, or have I met Ennis's character before this as well?
I was trying to think about that because him and like a majority of his people go out hunting for the meteorites. I'm sure he's at least crossed paths with whatever mooks or something the Overlord might have that he sends out to get the stuff.
So maybe I know you from before. I'm guessing none of you secretly admire me.
That's not in his programming.
I'm gonna need to go get one more person who actually was
Secretly
once my
admire?
friend and admires the fuck out of me because I feel undone now.
It's secretly someone that was in your fan club and now wants to
Yep.
join you, and the only way to prove that is by defeating you.
Yep.
It's
Hell
the
yes.
Syndrome or Handsome Jack style character.
Oh my god.
I need it. I need it so bad. Right, gear. I mean, a lot of that I think we probably figure out as we go on as well. A lot of it is basically just Locus. I've damaged you bad.
Yet I'm kind of missing my midsection.
But you can't just have every bond with Locus's character. I don't mean that in the sense like it can't all be that. Like if you have bonds over him, that's bad for him.
Oh, right, okay.
So you can't just be like, yeah, I have all of Locus's, in which case you literally can just destroy Locus's character in the first session
Oh,
because
that's
you
not
have that
good.
many bonds.
Oh yeah.
You have
Alright,
sway over
okay.
them completely.
Okay. That's probably not a good thing. Well, can we narrow it down just to 3 then, since we have 3 players?
Yeah,
Is
you
that
need to choose one for each member of the
Does that
fellowship,
make-
it says.
right? Okay, so I destroyed Locus's people.
Yeah.
So Locus, you're not necessarily human.
That's true.
You could be anything. You could be a race of ferret people.
A race
I'm
of
not going to discount it.
I'm not sure how well a ferret zombie would blend in.
A ferret zombie would be awesome. Well, if
How well
people
does a
are
ferret
used
blend
to-
in?
yeah.
I'm just saying. G2's people serve me now. GG's people serve me now. And I've fought. Oh. Were we friends, Ennis, or have I fought you before and left a wound upon you?
You know, the friend one could work because the Overlord is after the stuff as well, so they could work together at some point or something.
Well, yeah, when you say your people sell it, I'm sure that this is when in doubt, the road of least resistance is much more preferable, and considering the amount of cash he actually has, he will just drop money bags on you if he thinks he can buy the resource, as opposed to, especially if you can cut him a good deal.
Yeah, I think that one does actually kind of fit the best because the others wouldn't necessarily work. Well, they would, but they wouldn't.
I suppose you could secretly admire me. I know I'm kind of going for that because I'm thirsty for it. But the thing is that your people, they want what I want, you know? I just want to be able to get this resource so that everybody can have it at a decent markdown, maybe.
I think you mean mark up.
50%. Which is much better than the 70% that I charge at the moment.
Yeah, either of those two could work, I suppose. The Fred one, I would say, definitely works.
We'll stick with friend one then, because I'd prefer you to have one that you're more comfortable with, even though I'm hungry for admiration. Admire me, goddammit. Okay, so gear. I've chosen a massive weapon larger than anyone else could wield.
I have to ask something really strange mechanically about that.
Okay.
Every other massive weapon gets the dangerous tag. That is the only time a massive weapon has been described in gear that does not get the dangerous tag. And dangerous specifically means in-game can create collateral damage, is basically an AoE weapon. But you have a massive weapon that doesn't have the dangerous tag, which is interesting.
But the destructive blasts of fire or lightning does. So I wonder if that just got missed out.
I imagine the massive weapon is just a really long spear then. Just poke.
We're not gonna Evangelion this fucker. I'm gonna tell you that now. Suddenly angels. No. I think I'm gonna have to think about what it is. I really, the idea of just this, I think I know what it's going to be, because I'm getting this thought, and it's a good thought. So yeah. I have an idea for what that's gonna be. Now, I think that will come out at some point. Probably endgame, because nobody's supposed to meet up with the Overlord straight away. So the weapon that I have will be interesting. The 2 defenses is a clever plan and a trick up my sleeve. I might change a clever plan to a traitor. Saying that. Although, no, that's why I didn't pick traitor. Okay. No, a clever plan and a trick up your sleeve is going to be the 2, I think. And then the secret reason for doing all this is I do not have a secret. I'm just an evil jerk with way too much power.
That'll do.
Yep, that works.
Yeah. There's no sub story here.
Join us, Dan.
Dan,
Join us.
Admire me. I need an admirer, Dan. Right, the customs. I gained them by leveling up, and I'm not leveled up. But there's some interesting things there. I really like Team Rocket.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I really like Team Rocket. I guess there's so No More Games is a good one. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Is specifically for Locust.
Yup.
It was just put there just for him. Right. So that's my fellowship. You guys are mine now.
Technically, I was yours before.
Yeah, you had me at
Hi, Dan.
fellowship.
I'm not here.
You are more than welcome to join if you like.
Just gonna go
But-
to the expected book.
Yeah. Pick
Oh.
what you expected.
What's the expected book?
Yeah, I'm
Squire.
kinda
It is my favorite class, but
Yes.
it's not the one I'd want to play in this one.
Okay.
Oh.
There is, considering a few things while watching.
Uh-huh.
All right. How about you pull up the Dragon playbook?
Considering,
Dragon Playbook is up.
All right. I don't have a name or anything yet,
Okay.
but let's talk about the Dragon playbook because I didn't plan on doing this, and now I'm doing
How
this
are you doing this?
because I like twists at the end. Of these games.
Yeah.
surprise character.
All right. So let's read the start of the dragon, which I don't have on the form fillable. The dragon is fire, and everything around you could use to describe fire well describes you. Glorious, brilliant, warm, comforting, bright, unstoppable, destructive, devastating, terrible, all-consuming. These are things that dragons are. Play as the dragon if you want to be glorious and cool. If you like straightforward strength with cool abilities. If you want to be a real monster, or if you want to burn everything that gets in your way.
Oh boy.
What's amusing is we've now created not a regular fellowship, we are a hit squad.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
I
very
love it.
charismatic hype man.
I love it.
All right. For agenda, as with everyone, I have the existing agendas. Be brave, take risks, tell us of your people, improve the world around you. And I can take I of course get another agenda, to which I'm going to take unfettered ambitions. Seize fame and fortune wherever you can. And I, of course, get the What is a Dragon? Now, one of the interesting things about the Dragon playbook is you don't actually get to play like a full, like, elder, I'm a giant lizard dragon. The closest you get is either being a reincarnation or a hatchling, a champion given dragonic powers,
You're gonna be a kobold.
or a kobold ascendant.
Yep. I was just thinking in my head it's gonna be two kobolds standing under a robe together.
Yeah.
It really is. Oh my god.
Your people are the lesser dragons, the servants of dragons. You have stood above the crowd. Unlike other dragons, you have a people you can command lore about, the kobolds and their culture. You add a group of kobold pokers to your gear, and you have one bond with them. When you gain fellowship of the kobold community, the overlord should offer you fellowship moves from the main book. Halfling or orc fellowship moves are especially appropriate.
I'm going to demand that you use the kobold accent for your character as well. That you use in voices. You're gonna sound like that. That'll be awesome.
That would be a lot of talking in a very high-pitched voice.
I'm sorry, Dan.
So one of the dragon's own key moves, you do not have your own people. You once did, but no longer. Instead, you command lore about the glory of the dragons and their place in the world and the magnificent feats they have performed throughout history. The dragon has 11 custom moves to choose from instead of 8, and chooses 4 of them during character creation instead of 2. So when a move tells you somebody to make a core move from any playbook, the dragon's custom moves may count as core moves. This actually doesn't count anymore because errata changed that.
Oh
Yep.
no!
This move cannot be shared. So I need to really read through because I kind of jumped through this.
Hey, look,
Um,
it's 12:30 on my side. If you want to actually have time to set this up, I'm more than happy to let you set this up properly, where you don't feel rushed or anything like that, because I'm really pleased that you've jumped on, and I'm really pleased that you're part of this. So I think giving you time in order to make something is I have no problem with that whatsoever, Dan.
However,
if you like.
I do know at least 2 that I'm going to take.
Shoot.
Taking, listen here, you little punk.
I knew it! I was just reading that. I knew it.
And Treasure Hoard.
I'm gonna die.
And the reason I'm taking those is because I represent the power of small business.
Oh
God.
my god.
So should I just write
Wow.
Wingspring in for the name, or are you good?
I just play characters from 13th Age in other games.
No, that's amazing. I love it.
And that's as far through as I thought this terrible plan.
This is a great plan.
This is a wonderful plan. I can't.
Mainly inspired by looking at it and going, it's like, oh no. Jay might not get to use all his bonds.
Oh no!
You can have a Komodo dragon to ride.
Oh my god. Itty bitty Komodo dragon.
No, it's a full-size one. It's just horse equivalent for a kobold.
Oh, okay.
Can you imagine a hellhound with a little tiny kobold? A group of kobold pokers.
I like that it's called Use the Pointy Bit.
I know, I was just reading that. That's lovely. No, this is good. I'm pleased with this.
Kobold
This is
Thinker has a master
acceptable.
plan and a backup plan.
So, my friends, I think I'm gonna end it here, just so that I'm not gonna feel like a like Locus, his character, today, as it so happens to be. But I hope that was a little bit more informative and everybody was okay. I am gonna pick. I mean, I suppose this Wednesday, I do have the 2 days off together, so I could, if everybody is free Wednesday night, around the same time as we started tonight, either 10 or 11 my time, 6 or 7 your time, 5 or 6 Dan's time. As long as everybody's free, we can sort of cover Dan's character and then maybe start a session on Wednesday.
What time again, could you say?
It'd probably be about 6 or 7 your time, Jay.
Can't do that.
That's all right. That's okay.
Actually, 6 or 7 my time on Wednesday is going to be really tough for me. Always.
No, that's fine. Don't
That's
worry
my
about
sons
that.
have class, and I'm the one in charge of getting them there, so.
Aw, bless him. Let me have a look at the schedule then. It'll probably be another Saturday then, because I think, yeah, next Saturday I'm working a day shift, and I'm not working the Sunday, so yeah, maybe next Saturday, around the same
Should
time.
be okay.
Yeah, I can work with that.
Sounds good.
That gives me a bit of extra time as well, because to be honest, Wednesday it probably is too soon for me to set everything up, especially with heading back to work. And I've been gone for 2 weeks, and I'm a manager, so
Oh god.
I'm
Yeah,
expecting
Wednesday's
all
going to be a
hell
hard
to.
day then.
Oh yeah, wow.
I'm expecting all hell to break loose tomorrow. They've already asked me for August's rota when I'm not even working, so that was lovely. But yeah, so I'll pencil in next Saturday. Probably, if is there any chance maybe an hour earlier, give or take, since it might be an actual fight. That would be sort of 5 o'clock your guys' time.
Saturday, that's fine for me.
Yeah, that'd
Um,
work.
Yeah.
It's just Wednesday is from 6 to 8. I'm busy.
That's
my time.
fine.
I can, but any other
Yes,
time
your
during the
time.
day, I'm good. So I thought this would be a slightly earlier setup
Well,
thing. So
No, normally I'm off on a Wednesday. So and I am off this Wednesday, so I could do it earlier. It's just I know Dan works usually mornings on a Wednesday. So that'd probably be and it's everybody else's work, really. I
Oh yeah,
think,
this is the other reason why I was supposed to stay out of this, is because my schedule is terrible for working this out.
Hopefully Saturday nights, I think, but I'm not planning on doing this like every Saturday night.
Okay.
Just
I will say, in a few months, 2 months, I will have Wednesday completely free.
ooh,
My sons are going to that next Sash level, so they will be
oh,
not going on Wednesdays anymore. So, in a few months, I will be completely free for Wednesday evenings. It's just that, unfortunately, is how it is at the
know.
moment.
Usually I've got like Sundays and Wednesdays off, so having a Sunday is rare for me. and so I pick the day just before I go in for a Sunday. But yeah, the Saturday nights, I'm liking the Saturday nights because it gives me a week to sort of last minute it a little bit less, as it were.
In theory.
Hmm.
That's good.
Well,
I think that'll give you a little more time. You won't be as overwhelmed, especially with work also starting just before that.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I am thinking something like twice a month, if possible. And then we'll just see how things go, and how much I can wreck your shit.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right then, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you everyone who's listened. Thank you everyone who listened and then joined. Probably against their better judgment. And yeah, well, maybe I'll even come up with a name for this.
All right.
It'll be a good time.
Thank you everyone for watching on Tinker Tabletop. Just a reminder, tomorrow we have Voices in the Wilderness, correct, Dan? Dan, we have Voices in the Wilderness tomorrow, correct?
Yes, we
Okay,
do have
cool.
Voices in the Wilderness tomorrow.
I was just making an announcement. I was in XSplit, and of course realized my push to talk isn't working here when I do that. So
Oh god.
Yay,
Oh,
excellent.
yeah, we should probably tout that while we're live.
that's what I just did. Tomorrow at
Thank you, Jay.
5 o'clock Eastern Time, Voices in the Wilderness, where the party gets to yell at Malkesh. The one I'm sure everyone is looking forward to.
Yeah.
So many dad talks.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.